Hello and welcome to Premier Study in Investing. It's great to have you. Thanks for stopping by. We're going to be talking about Moderna and this potential buyout talk. Looks like shares were up 12%. At the close is up 13.93, closing out at $28.14. So we're almost back down to book value per share in the $24 range. And then we went up $3.44. So it's a pretty big move, all because of this. Well, let's see what you think. I want to see what the comments say because I'm not sure what I quite think about it. So basically, this came up after a report that it had held talks with at least one large drug maker on a deal of, quote, significant scope, end quote, according to a Stat News report. What does that really mean? A takeover large partnership was on the table, according to the Stat News item on Thursday, which cited one person familiar with the discussions. So probably we should just go read that one. I guess the last sentence is, that does not mean it will survive in its present shape. That's the end of the article. What are we missing here? There's nothing about what we're looking for. Anyways, separately on Thursday, Thursday, October 30th, this article came out. October 30th. Okay, I'm not sure what to say. Let's go check out some comments and see what people had to say. Excellent. Looks like pharma is finally starting to come back to life. What do you think? I think it's underperformed this year. Obviously, tech has crushed it. Gold has crushed it. Had $20 billion in cash thanks to COVID at one point. Lost $4 billion last year, and it this year probably just as bad when reporting Q3. Does current asset even exceed total liabilities lost? $4 billion lost last year, and this year will probably be just as bad. No wonder that Stefan wants out whilst this cash furnace is still worth something. But is Merrick paying 30 or is it paying 10 to take over? Interesting. 10 would be great for me. Yeah, I'm net short. You guys know that. I've been net short for a long time. I didn't actually have any calls. I did at some point to really capture a potential buyout. Yeah, like this, like news that we were talking about. And I used to have it at 27, so that would have been fine. But I think I sold those when we were up at $28 anyway. So we were just at $28. I mean, I maybe would be a little bit disappointed. It's just news. It's just news. So maybe I need to chill out. Oh, here we go. Moderna is a GSB, government-sponsored biotech. Anyone else find it odd that somehow Moderna created the most effective mRNA COVID vaccine for COVID, and yet most of their vaccine data since for other indications has either underwhelmed or been flat-out failures? Strange, huh? Sell yourself now before you go bankrupt because that's where they're headed. Moderna would be a single-digit midget like many other biotech companies are now without its GSB status. During the pandemic, good riddance to this company. So, okay. Here's a response to that. Sorry, but no good riddance to this company. No one but you believes your comments. Not strange at all. Only you are saying it's a GSB. Never heard of that acronym used before in this way. Same with me. I've never heard that it's never heard that acronym. So, okay. Who would take on this company? I think that's a great question. That's more where I am. It's like, what do you get if you buy Moderna? You get, well, there's that guy Hatfield. He was I think senior advisor at HHS. He just got ousted. He says that he was wrongfully fired basically because they were basically doing a coup. He was very outspoken. You can see stuff about him saying that these need to be off the market immediately. These mRNA products are not safe. But what I think is really interesting is some of the things that are coming out. I'll try to put screenshots of this up, but just took some screenshots on my phone as I was browsing what they're allowing now on Facebook. So one thing that came out, you see here, Angel Studios, which is like a Christian-based media company. They make movies and faith-based films. The truth about RFK Jr. now streaming. So, I don't know, but they also did this other film, something about Homestead. I think it was called Homestead, but it was essentially like conservative Christian types being preppers and preparing, protecting their families, etc., for the doomsday takeover scenario. So Angel Studios, I think, yeah, the Christian component is a big part of America. Here's one from Tom Rentz. Fully vaccinated people can go outdoors without a mask. It was like an old throwback thing, trying to entice people to take vaccines so they can go outside. Well, that's obviously not an issue anymore, and obviously that's not being censored. So one of my points I'm making here with this is, I think the studies have, like this person said, they've been a flop. They've generally been not very impressive. Birth defects. You have a lot of really bad information. Go back and look at Nick Hulsher, Hullssher. He's posting stuff constantly on Facebook, and they let him do it. He works for the McCullough Foundation, so this is Peter McCullough. I mean, man, it's one bad, terrible thing after another. 18 million person study in Japan, etc., etc. I guess I didn't have as many screenshots as I thought, just those two, but I did think it was interesting. Another one that we can find is people are now posting this story that individuals that already have cancer diagnoses are somehow seeing some improvements in recovery after getting mRNA shots. And some people, obviously some people are saying that's just like the last grasp of like trying to cling on to anything that this could possibly be helpful. I mean, this is what I'm seeing. This would be like the positive side, that somehow it has some odd ability to generally boost the overall immune system strength, and so helpful. But who would take on this company? The response is no one. So these are not my comments. Because they can't afford it, Boncel is not going to give away the store. It's interesting that they said, what would be the buyout price, 30 or 10? You have some people that are saying this is worth $150, or I think I had calls previously for 50, for a buyout situation. I don't have those anymore, but obviously that wouldn't pay off if the buyout price was 30 or 32 or 33. It wouldn't get high enough. It needs to be in the money. Report it, and he held talks with at least one large drug maker. They want to have talks. Come and talk to me. This guy says, not that type of drug maker. There was a new episode on PBS last night of, quote, Secrets of the Dead, a terrible title but pretty good show, about the origin of bubonic plague in the 14th century, and they mentioned modern work on a vaccine against it today, and talked to a company bragging about their work on the AstraZeneca COVID vaccine, and this would use the same mechanism, which was even worse than the Pfizer. Shake my head. Does anybody ever learn anything? Catch the Falling Knife says, I'll join the call. Separately on Thursday, Moderna canceled a UBS Global Healthcare Conference scheduled for November 9th through November 12th in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. Moderna canceled from the conference due to scheduling conflicts, according to an email viewed by Seeking Alpha. Scheduling conflict, my ass is what it says. My ass. Something rotten in Denmark, as the saying goes, or where there's smoke, there's fire. Scheduling conflict. Oh yeah, conflict. Considering all the noise regarding vaccines at this point and the poor execution over the past few years, the transaction joining forces with larger pharmaceutical company makes a lot of sense. My guess is the party is Pfizer, but that's 100% guess. We're all kind of guessing at this point, so it's just all speculation, when it kind of makes it interesting. There were some comments that came out of the McCullough Foundation. Actually, you know who it was? It was the guy, Joseph Ladapo, out of Florida, making a comment, presser, talking about that the outcomes were far worse with people who took Pfizer. Is that because of the SV40? I don't know. He got into it, but if you're not aware, Pfizer had the SV40, simian virus 40 elements, like gene sequence, in what the information that was delivered to the cells, the genetic information that was delivered to the cells in order to, send the message to, hey, start producing these antibodies. And so it had simian virus 40 in it. Moderna's doesn't have that. And so you should just be aware of that if you don't know that by now. That's fine. Now you know. As long as a longtime stockholder of Moderna, since shortly after its IPO, wow, that guy made a lot of money, or lady. I would welcome a transaction at this point. My involvement with Moderna has nothing to do with the pandemic. I just happened to get lucky having owned a material position when the pandemic hit and vaccines became the focus. As the Seeking Alpha community knows, I booked material profits a long way of its epic run during the pandemic via derivatives and sales of the underlying securities. I continue to hold a core position because I happen to believe in the long-term potential of the platform. Yeah, but you already made a ton of money. So the cancellation of the conference is a strong tell that something is going on. I wouldn't surprise me if a deal is announced in the next few weeks. Just my 2 cents. Slow and steady. Good luck to all. 5 likes on that one. And some replies. Similar in that I too got in 1 year before the pandemic, got lucky, took out my basis, but let my money run. Didn't exit at the height, so I'm patiently waiting for it to bounce back. Not against a merger or buyout, so let's see how the end of the year unfolds. Also, same experience here. I was playing with house money and should have unloaded a bunch at 500. You live, you learn. Still have a small position. If it gets bought, I'll make a small profit. Time will tell. It's pretty interesting. I wonder what people's... it traded around $10 before the run-up, so... what does this guy say? I have just under 100,000 shares, so I too will make a small profit. This is a new comment. Different stream. I've little confidence that anything from Stat News, ever since that outfit assured us in February 2024 that MOR would not close. I'm not sure, so that must be a ticker, MOR. It closed easily and without a hiccup. The bio reveals sketchy people at that shop. It seems they are sometimes right, so we'll see. And a follow-up says, yeah, Adam Furstein, spelling, is a well-known short basher and pumper of crappy biotechs. Yeah, this guy is famous. I remember reading about him on Arbitus, like forums. And, you know, obviously, like a lot of those biotech COVID plays did crash. I'm thinking of Sorrento went bankrupt. There was one, Adamus Pharmaceutical, that had a name change. They had a product called Tempol. It was it was an arthritic drug. It was an oral tablet. They went bankrupt. You know, all the companies that were running particularly monoclonal antibody treatments, obviously they had a big spike up and then down. Most of these small biotech companies have come down since the pandemic, and it probably has a lot to do with RFK and all the shakeup. Explains the spike. Who's going to buy or partner? Merck is obviously given choice, given their results today. Oh, it's the given. Yeah, it's the obvious choice given their results today. So Merck is a partner on one of the drugs or one of the platform programs. I'm not sure which one it is. I think it is it the cancer one. Hopefully someone buys them. Whoa, only behemoth like Merck can either swallow whole or at least half of Moderna, i.e. a subsidiary of Merck. But there could be a dark horse out there we don't know of, spitballing, but could even be private equity involved to take them private. Crazy thought, right? Man, I cannot imagine the number of people that you would have to have, like expert level number of people. Because that's why on your board or on your team to be able to rework mRNA tech that I think is flawed. I mean, that's why I'm short, you know. I've been convinced by the Robert Malones and Peter McCulloughs of the world and this anecdotal story, and also, you know, if it worked, like why demonize people that were you know, pushing nutraceuticals and doing different things to help people, you know, alternative medicines to vaccination. And then, you know, obviously we found out it doesn't stop transmission, yada, yada, yada. Then you have all these horror stories of all-cause mortality being up clearly since the rollout of the jabs. And then last time, what do we do? This big spike in 300% increase in ALS, so Lou Gehrig's disease, but it's a neuron, I think motor neuron disease is the correct term, but it leads to slow paralysis of the body, and then ultimately it's fatal. So It's up 300%. Not was it up 300%? It was either up 300% in Singapore. Yeah, they felt like they could get really good data out of Singapore, or was it a 300% increase in the demand for the number of boxes for this old drug that treats ALS, like treats it, like helps to treat it. Here's like an interesting one. I'll take $450 share stock peak. This person says I'll take anything above 37 just to break even. You know, so I guess a lot of people are not really looking at $80 or some really insane buyout. I mean, we were just at 24. Well, I mean, a 10% premium is what, 26.50. 37 would be, is that like $13 on 24? Be like a 60% premium. I sold BE at 21 earlier this year to buy Moderna. Look where BE is today. What is BE? The next one says, go figure. I sold 90% of my journal on Monday ahead of earnings. I've been holding several hundred shares. The cost basis of $25. Talk about last time. Ugh. Yeah, that is sucks. But I mean, you can't really beat yourself up. If you think earnings are going to be bad, then, you know, what are you going to do? Oh, BE is Bloom Energy, and year to date they're up, 1,200%. I don't even know what Bloom Energy is. Anyways, I don't know. It's like a hockey stick. It didn't do anything 2018, 2019, 2020, 21, 2, 3, 4. And then this year it goes from $23 to $11 to $136. Bloom Energy. Yeah. Okay. So sort of interesting comments. There's not really a lot to say. It is all sort of speculation. Oops. Yeah, so here we can see up 14.01 after hours, October 30th. So earnings is coming out November 6th. I think it's going to be weak as well. I mean, who knows? I think I read analysts downgraded their earnings reports, their earnings estimates by 5% since I'm not sure when, but that just came off this like right here, this Zacks AI written Moderna Q3 earnings expected to decline. So it's just down 5% from wherever they started from. It's probably like an average earnings estimates from probably the same 20 analysts or whatever. So here we go. Let's look at these. Absolute fraud alerts. Please report this guy. His play pump and dump. Okay. Is it a pump and dump? Is this a scam? Is this some insiders cooking up some fake news or false news or unverifiable news or spreading rumors, or what is stat news anyway? I don't know. I never really read anything from them that I can remember. Tomorrow back to $24, $25. Suck it, bolt hards. I love how people, I don't know if this is AI writing, but I love the way that people play with words on these columns and make it kind of funny. 0 upsides, so that's 3 bearish, very, very bearish comments in a row. What's this one? Patience, spelled wrong. Pays off, I guess. Also worth checking out, MSAI, multi-sensor AI stock. Analysts predicting $3. Okay, so this really has nothing to do with it. And not everyone is English as a first language, so we'll give them a pass on the spelling of patience. Another clown. Well, that guy already gave us one bullish comment, so we can't double count him. A realistic buyout price could be lower bound, about $25 a share, if the acquirer assumes risk, wants the tech, but drives hard bargain based on the current fundamentals. Mid-range, $40-$50 a share, aligning with current analyst targets, about 46 on average, I guess. Is that right? I mean, you have really crazy people like, not crazy, I don't want to say that. It feels like a crazy price because of how high it is. Karen Anderson at Morningstar has had a price target on this thing at like 200. I don't know where she's at now, maybe, but she's always been on the high end. She's always, when a lot of people were at 50, she was at still like 220. Or when a lot of people were, at 40, she was still at 170. So you have the average is skewed by the outliers, basically. But okay, let's say the average current analyst target is $46 on the start price, and then you want to put some premium over that, so 60 to 70 per share. All right, I mean, okay. And then if the pipeline outcomes are strong, value unlocked, competition wants to pay a premium, given the data, 40 to 50 a share seems the most plausible buyout price range right now. If one were to happen, let's see how it plays out the next days. Yeah, I mean, that's why I said I used to hold those call options with $50 strike price just on the off chance that I need to have some coverage, like if I just need to basically cover whatever I would have lost for the calls, for the puts. So I just need to make sure that I had some way to make my money back if I was wrong and there was a buyout. But I don't have that anymore, so I guess maybe I should see what happens tomorrow. Maybe I'll get some. All right, a merger between Moderna and Merck is strongly supported by strategic imperatives, particularly in the lucrative field of oncology. See, I mean, I have a hard time with that statement because you have claims that you're finding mRNA gene sequences in patient kidney tumors. So it was I don't remember if it was a Pfizer or Moderna sequence. But there's a big talk that it's like an oncogenesis type of problem. Merck is facing a critical challenge known as the Keytruda patent cliff. Oh, that's right. Keytruda, Merck's blockbuster cancer immunotherapy drug, generates tens of billions of dollars in annual revenue. Its primary patent is set to expire around 2028. The consequence, this expiration will lead to the introduction of biosimilars, causing a massive multi-billion-dollar drop in Merck's core revenue. The growth cliff, the solution. Merck urgently needs a new, massive, and innovative revenue stream to replace the Keytruda vacuum. Strategic oncology fit, the platform. Moderna's mRNA platform offers Merck the exact solution needed to future-proof its oncology dominance. Personalized cancer vaccines. Merck and Moderna already have a phase 3 partnership developing personalized mRNA cancer vaccine. It's the 4157 product, mRNA 4157, or it's the V940 combined with Keytruda for melanoma. Okay, I used to live in Florida. People would get skin cancer all the time. And it wasn't the same as breast cancer or pancreatic cancer or stomach cancer or, lymphomas. I mean, people just went and had them surgically removed. Doesn't make me an expert. Doesn't mean I'm right. I'm just saying, I lived there for 5 years and it didn't seem like in the same category at all as other cancers. Why is Dr. Fauci stock went up? I love the grammar. Why is Dr. Fauci stock went up? It's awesome. The information reported by Stat News regarding potential acquisition talks from Moderna should be taken very seriously by investors. Track record and industry ties. Stat News is not a general financial gossip outlet. It is a highly respected, specialized news organization focused exclusively on the biotech, health, and pharma industries. Its journalists have deep, established sources within the management teams, R&D labs, and legal/financial advisory firms. Of major, probably, it cuts off there, but probably of major pharmaceutical firms. Would be what it says. All right, so I'm just reading these because I'm trying to hear them in my own mind and make some determination. Essentially, most of the posts they're mostly bearish, but they're kind of these quippy, funny little, pot shot type of comments, essentially, this thing sucks, right? I hate this stock or whatever. And then other people are giving more serious, probably copy and pasted arguments that Merck needs something to fill in the gap with the loss of their Keytruda. It's all in oncology. Okay, maybe. But, mostly what Moderna does is really respiratory diseases. So, not a great fit. I would say not a great fit. Anyways, and then I thought this guy's interesting. I mean, it's a man on a motorcycle. Who knows who it is? But that the buyout price is not going to be $80, $90, $150, right? You have people basically saying, I'd be happy with $37 buyout. And you have this person that's saying, could be 25. It's very likely to be mid-range, like 40 to 50. And then on a really great scenario, maybe there's $60, $70 buyout. I think what I have to do is I have to wait for this to go down tomorrow, which I think is what's going to happen. We'll see Friday. I do think the earnings is going to be bad. I think it'll miss. Why do I say that? I don't know. Other than it just seems like the general sentiment, which could be very skewed by the algorithms in my case, but I'm seeing people are just able to let it rip loose, like say whatever they want negative about this technology and these vaccines. And certainly there's no pressure, it seems to be, anymore from the Biden administration or now the Trump administration on Mark Zuckerberg or anybody at Facebook restricting data, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like, it just doesn't seem like they're wasting time, that they're expending energy on that. So I think we were just at $28. It couldn't hold $28. I don't think it's going to hold at 28 now. So it's been an interesting month. Kind of came from like 24 up to 28, slowly went back to 24, and now we had this big spike up today. Now we're back up to 28. That's pretty much the 1 month picture. I mean, I guess I believe the story with Merck enough to say, all right, I guess I should probably put back on like some $40 calls or something just to sort of buoy up the overall position, strengthen the long side of the basically straddle that I'm running, multi-leg. And that's all I have to say, but it seems interesting. Which arguments do you guys find more compelling? I mean, no one really has any information, no real good solid information. It mostly just depends on how much do you believe in stat news based on something that they heard with no quotes, you know. Nothing really really substantial. Some talks, they're in some talks. I mean, I guess that is big, you know, if you really think about it, that they're like having talks, they are entertaining, let's just say, some buyout or potential. It could be a partnership, it doesn't have to be buyout. Let's go back and make sure we saw exactly what they're saying it says. It's at the top of this article. On a deal of significant scope. So it's either partnership or buyout. Or maybe they're going to sell part of their pipeline. Maybe they're going to divest and maybe just become an oncology company. Maybe Moderna is just going to say, we'll sell off, you know, the respiratory stuff, but we want to focus on oncology. Or maybe vice versa. They're going to dump the oncology, sell it to Merck, and continue running on their respiratory viruses, RSV, flu, combos, COVID. But man, I think their COVID sales are going to be bad, and RSV sales have never been good. So takeover a large partnership was on the table, according to one person, Stat News, which cited one person familiar with the discussions. The precise nature of the potential agreement was unclear. Man, it seems like it could very much be like a sort of manipulation. You know what I mean? Oh man, I don't know. I think I have to get some calls, because I don't own shares. I don't own shares of this. So, all right. Well, let's see what happens tomorrow. Thanks for watching.